Yes, well, good evening. Today the Who's were on at Hawkesbury. The track was good, the rail was in the normal position, and the wind for the first 5 races was out of the northwest. It wasn't really strong, but it was enough to take care of the leaders in those early races. Races 6, 7 and 8, the wind, when the calm before the storm, not that it rained, but over the Blue Mountains came the black clouds, and the wind went from a solid nor'easter to all of a sudden a nil breeze, which didn't affect the leaders in the last 3 races, and the horses who led in races 6 and 7 won, and the last winner sat handy in 3rd position to the turn, and it's also won. But earlier on the day, you couldn't lead and win. I think it was because of the wind factor. The first race, there was 108.1 on the screen. There was only about 100 in the marketplace. The favourite finished up getting the cash, won by 5 lengths very easily. And even though it was handy, it was on the fence, but there were 2 runners outside it, giving it wind cover. And I'm talking about Benedictus. It went through on the fence, turning for home after getting that windbreak, and went on to win by 5 lengths. Running second was the first starter right down the bottom, top Rankin, who had a charm run midfield on the fence, and it never left it. And it snuck up in the inside runners to grab second position on the line. Now the betting in the race, the favourite Benedictus went up $2.25, a 5 to 4 chance, got out to 280, but start was crunched. Ali, I'm just doing the thing. I'll ring you back, my darling. Bye. It was crunched by the pros right towards the end of betting. After they bet back the second favourite earlier on, but it was crunched from $2.80 back into the starting price, its opening price of $2.25. Cosmic King, it was the second pick. It finished up running 5th. It went up 9 to 4, 320. Got out to 3.30, about the same price, and it was into $3 at one stage, but got back out to that starting its opening quote at 3.20. And the only other runner in the market which was backed and started 3rd pick was number 8, having its first start, Step Out in Style. It was $12 into about $9. The Cosmic King had its chance. The 2 horses that were affected by the wind were numbers 5 and 11, but the favourite would have, even if it was affected by the wind, still would have got home. It trotted in. The second race, 97.6 on the screen only, and there was less in the marketplace. And this race was won by the sensationally backed Rad, the second favourite. Very bad result for the captains here. There was a protest in this race. The connections of the second horse and favourite, Marielle, who was resuming from a spell today, they protested, but it was dismissed. I've got no doubt if Marielle would have got the split and not copped the cheque, it would have won, even though the margin was 1.8 lengths. And what happened was, when they turned for home, the favourite Marielle, it was tucked in 3rd position or 4th position on the fence, and Blake Shin on the winner, Rad, he knew he was in there. There was no way he was going to escape. But on the favourite, Jay Ford, he said, it doesn't matter, I'm travelling better than you. I'll slide up on the fence here, and when the split comes, I'll get through and I will win for sure. Well, that would have happened, but unfortunately for Jay Ford, Blake Shin's mount hung in badly after they'd straightened, and it knocked over Just Another, who went straight into Marielle and put it out of business. And when that happened, of course, Rad had got clear, and it took a while for Marielle to get out of the pocket. The bird had flown, and it got beat 1.8 lengths. It was 4.1 lengths away to the 3rd horse. The betting in the race, I haven't written the favourite's name yet. It went from $1.70, opened up the 8 to 11, and got out to evening money, got out to $2, and I was cheering for it. Whereas the winner, it went up $3.50 second pick, and got out to $4.60, but only started $3.20, 9 to 4. So it was 7 to 2 to 9 to 4 at one stage, and it was extremely well backed by the pros. They had a large plate, and it was a bad result for me. I don't know whether the other captains were able to lay the favourite, but I most certainly haven't written his name in the ledger. So third race, 108% on the screen. There was less. There's only about a spot in the marketplace, and this winner absolutely trotted in, and very similar to the second race. The favourite, I haven't written its name in the ledger. Talking about Zycosis, who had every possible chance. It went up a 6-4 on chance, $1.60, and got out to $2.10 at the death, or at the finish of betting. And as I say, I haven't written his name. Whereas the winner, Solomon, it went up second pick at $5, a 4-1 chance, got to 5.51 board, and it did start 9-4. It was 9-2 to 9-4, and it trotted in. Copying the win up the front of this race, leading on the fence was Whirling Lass, and sitting on its outside was a 100-1 chance. Whirling Lass was 30s, and 100-1 chance on its outside was number 4 South China Tiger, and they both copped the win. So you can put that against those runners. And sitting back in third, fourth last position was the winner Solomon. And when Rodney Quinn eased it off heels, coming down the side and was wide on the turn, he knew the 10% was underneath his pillow. He strolled up to the leaders. Zycosis, the favourite, who sat in behind the pace, it was getting to the leaders, but as soon as he got to the leaders, Rodney Quinn on the winner gave it windburn and won by 3.5 lengths. And coming from second last in the run was Geometry, who I laid at one stage at $18, about 3,400 to 200 something. It started $16. It missed a kick and copped a prat at the turn, and it came down the outside, but it did have the wind helping it a bit into third hole, beaten 5.5 lengths. The winner, if you forgave it its last run on that terrible track down at Kembla, and went on its previous form, that was his first run back from the spell at Kembla. Today was second up. If he went on his previous form, well, of course, it could have easily had its favourite in this race, and that's what the pros most probably went on, and they absolutely labelled it, and it was a bad result for the captains. Race 4 on the screen, 103.3. There was less in the marketplace. It was under 100. I won't tell you what it was, but it was under. And this was won by a $19 chance, who was backed at one stage of the betting. Talking about Bush Brandy. Up front, copping the wind in this race were two well-backed runners. They were Cargill, who was announced to be ridden closer, and it did. It led, copped the wind. It was $9 at one stage. Well, it went from $8 out to $9. Only started 6. Laid at least 3,000 against it, plus a lot of other bets at one stage of the betting. And Soaring Miss on its outside, it copped the win as well, and it was well back from went from $7 out to $7.50, and it started only $6 as well, and they copped the win, those two runners. And it finished up running second, Soaring Miss, so its effort wasn't too bad. Sitting back in third last position or second last position on the fence was the winner, Bush Brandy. As I say, it started $19, but 19 was taken at one stage into about 16, 17, hard to get, but it got back out to that price at the finish, and it got wind cover down the side and railed in between or inside runners turning for home, and went away and won by 1.5 lengths from the horse who sat outside the lead, Soaring Miss. And coming from a clear last at the 800 metre mark, was 4 or 5 lengths behind the second last horse. It was Midnight Hustler, railing on the turn inside runners, and got into third hole, beat 2.3. There were plenty of runners in this race which didn't have names. I won't go through them. It was a bad betting race, and as I say, the winner at one stage was backed. Race 5, only on 99 on the screen, 99.3 on the screen only, and less in the marketplace. And the difference between first and second here, who finish up, they turned out to have plenty on the rest of the field with the first and second favourites. And I'm talking about Hourglass, who ran second, but I haven't struck it for a blow. Went up $1.70 and started $2.50. It was 11 to 8 on to 6 to 4, and only went down by 0.8 of a length to the second favourite. We put them up nice and tight in this race. There were no figures anyway, so you knew it was going to be was going to be no good. That's why we put it up tight. They went up at $1.70, the second horse, and we only put the winner up 5-4, Cess and Tessimo, and it went from 5-4 to 5-2, back into $3.20. Hard to get at one stage, but got out to $3.40 at the finish, and the reason being there was another runner in this race which was sensationally backed, Infamous Quest, the bottom one. It went from it was back from $8.50 into $5. It sat back in third position on the fence, and well, it could have copped a little bit of wind, but it had its chance. It ran fifth beaten 7.4. They left their money in the satchel there, but they didn't leave it in the satchel with the winner. And the difference between winning and losing here was how they were positioned. Blake Shin was able to get on the back of Hourglass's back, and Quinn, when he made his run, he would have copped some wind coming down the side, and he had the suck up behind him on the winner, Blake Shin's on Centesimo, and when he peeled off his back after turning for home, they fought it out all the way down the straight, and he beat him by 0.8 of a length. As it was a long way back to the third horse, 6.1 lengths away. First and second had plenty on them. If the Hourglass would have been on the back of the other one, that it would have beaten it. That was the difference. Race 6 on the screen, 102.9. There was less than 100 in the marketplace. Don't want to talk about it. And now this is the race, as I said earlier on. All of a sudden, it was the calm before the storm. The wind went from a good solid little nor'wester to nil, and this was able to lead all the way. Set of Rocks, ridden by the 3 Kilo Girl. It was a good result for the captains. It went from $3 to $5, back into $4.80. But it was a result for the captains, but there were no figures there. There was one very well-backed runner, which I'll get to in a minute. We put them up $2.40 favourite, Knowing Me, who got out to $3.50, had every possible chance, but was crunched at the finish by the pros into $3.20, hard to get. I've already told you about the winner, Set of Rocks, who led all the way. At one stage, it was 4 or 5 lengths clear coming down the side, but she was always 2 and 3 off the fence. And as I say, they took $5, but it started $4.80. There was a bit of money for, well, I'll get to Commandant in a minute. Krasner, they took $12, and they also took $7.50 RTU. But the best back runner in the race, and why the top pair got out in the market, was the sensational backing for Commandant. It opened up $5 and was backed immediately into $4.60. They took the $4.60, $4.40, $4.20, $4, $3.80, and $3.80 was labelled at one stage into $3.60, but it got back out to $3.80 just towards the end of betting when the $3.50 was taken about the top weight. It was no good. There was less than 100, and by the time they got to the turn, after leading clearly at the 800-metre mark, the winner, Set of Rocks, by the time they got to the turn, the others had were only they more or less caught three other runners were only a length behind her, and they were Commandant on the inside, who finished inside the winner. As I say, she was racing off the fence, who finished up being safely held all the way down the straight, beaten the length. Krasner, who chased her, it ran third, beaten 1.4, and having every possible chance, Knowing Me, who eased off Krasner's back, was 1.5 lengths away in fourth position. The winner was a fairly good win. Race 7, 102.6 in the marketplace, and there was less than 100 in the ring. First 5 around the bend here, they were nearly the first 5 in the market, but the first 5 around the bend ran first, second, third, fourth and fifth, and there was one sensationally back runner in this race. Unfortunately, it didn't win for the pros, and fortunately for the captains who got beat. Winning the race was the equal second favourite, Gibraltar's Gem, who, as I say, the wind had dropped, and it was taken straight to the lead from barrier 1, ridden by the pumper, and sitting on its outside was the opening favourite, who I haven't written his name yet, Toffler, went from $1.80 to $2.80, 5 to 4 on to 7 to 4. It sat on its outside, and the sensationally backed, having its first start, Stella Dane, trained by Ronnie Quinton, ridden by Killer Cat. It unfortunately got trapped 3 wide from its wide alley outside that pair, and it finished up running 5th. Wasn't a bad effort after being trapped wide, beaten 3.8 lengths. The winner, it went up safely in the market, resuming from a spell from $2.80 out to $3.70, taken at one stage into $3.50, but got back out to $3.70. And the reason both of them were reached for in the ring, as I say, was because of the sensational backing for Stella Dane. I gave $8.50 to lose 2,000 at one stage. It did start $3.70, equal second favourite. They put an absolute fortune on it. If you had $4 up towards the end of betting, they how much do you? So it was $8.50, a 15 to 2 chance into an 11 to 4 chance, sensationally backed, and got trapped 3 wide in the run. It finished up winning by 0.3 of the length, Gibraltar's Gem, holding Toffler all the way down the straight. They got out to the middle of the track. They viewed the head-on, and they thought there might have been a chance for a protest, but they didn't bother entering one. Race 8, in the marketplace, there was only 100.9 on the screen, 100.9 on the screen. In the marketplace, there was only 98, and unfortunately for the captains, the favourite got the chocolates, and I'm talking about Bestow, who went from a maiden last start into this Class 2 race. It jumped up fairly quickly in grade, but it showed what potential it has got. As I say, the win now was nil, and going to the lead early in the piece was Admiral's Cup, an 80 to 1 chance. It led with the favourite, Bestow, on its outside, but when they got to the 800 metre mark, making and taking off from back in the field was What a Shifter, who was trapped wide, and it went around and led and put a bit of pace in the race. Couldn't cross the leader on the Admiral's Order, and while when this happened, of course, Bestow, ridden by Josh Parr, who rode the first winner, he just sat and looked at that pair. When they turned for home, he got a split in between them and went on to win by a length. The stablemate, or running second in the race, was the horse looking at the winner all the way, School of Turin. It was on looking at, as I say, the winner all the way. It got beat a length, and coming from second last was the stablemate of the winner, Sastruga, who was well in the market, went up $5. It started $6.50 on my board. It fluctuated, laid 2,400 at one stage, plus a few other good bets, but it started $6.50. It made up plenty of ground coming down the outside, beaten wide on the turn, beaten 1.2 lengths. It'll be greatly improved by that run, but the winner has got a bit of a potential. It was holding them on the line. It looks to be a very nice, strong horse. As I say, we only bet 98% in the race. Just very quickly, the fluctuations. Number 1 was Scratch Golden Femur. It went from 20 out to 80. Hannah Jane, very hard to lay, went from $3 out to $4.80 back into $4.60. Show Pony Express, it was $6 out to $8. The next one was Scratch Agent. It went from $6 out to $7.50, then back into $9.50. It was well back. School of Turin, hard to lay, $10 to $17. Bestow, $3.50 to $4.20 into $3.40. Started favourite. Sastruga, stablemate, $4 to $6 into $5.50 back to $6.50. And the bottom 3, Admiral's Order, 41 to 81. Similar with Miss 30 Days, 41 to 61. And the bottom one was always 100 to 1 chance. No good. We bet losing figures, and the favourite got the cash. Wiles on tomorrow. It's going to be a tough night doing the form and getting up there tomorrow. Hope you had some luck. Speak to you later on. Bye.